WRVS-FM HD1 Elizabeth City State University. From the gridiron to the radio. This is ECSU Football Insider, only on WRVS 89.9.
New beginnings here at Elizabeth City. I am happy to welcome you to the premiere episode of ECSU Football Insider. I'm Clay Mercer, and thank you for joining us. This is the show that will take you inside the huddle every week throughout the football season. And who better to talk Viking football with than head coach Adrian Jones. Coach Jones, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Clay. Appreciate it.
Yeah, it's the first season at the helm of ECSU football, but your experience as a former D2 All-American athlete and your time as a coach will have a positive impact on these young men. How has the transition been from Shaw to ECSU? How has it been so far?
It's been an awesome transition. There's nothing but family here. I have enjoyed and embraced the family-oriented Viking family. They take me with open arms, and the biggest thing is just making sure that everybody understands that it's a process, and we're working hard as a football team, and we look forward to being a special group.
Yeah, how has that conversation been with the alumni who I know are excited about the football season coming up? As you said, they welcomed you with open arms, but the community is also in that conversation too. How have your conversations been with all of them?
Well, you're a new coach. They're excited about the new coach and the ideas that we have, but not only that, the winning cures everything.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's why I'm here, to have get a winning tradition here. It's been here, but and I know about it, playing football at North Carolina Central. Yeah. Back in the day, those guys were pretty good. And when I coached at North Carolina Central in the 2000s, we played them in the championship game in 2006 and beat them by a field goal with the last second. So it's talent here. It's just, just getting the right piece to the puzzle and making sure that our guys buy into our system.
From the time when you were playing to now, how much has the CIAA changed? There's been some teams that have come and gone, but the atmosphere is always exciting at CIAA football games.
Oh, it's still exciting, but you got the young guys. They come in my office and look at the poster that I have up when I played in '97. Through the '90s, you had your Hamptons, your all the Howards, all those schools that were in the CIAA back in the day that are not in the CIAA anymore, but it's still a competitive league. We have a very good football teams in this league, and just look forward to through the challenges of the year.
Yeah. When you were introduced to the Viking family back in January, you talked a little bit about cultivating a championship mindset. Expound upon that a little bit, as well as the type of identity you want this program to have.
Well, a championship mindset starts with the student athlete. It's the reason why we call it a student athlete. We make sure our coaches go around and make sure our kids are going to class, because at the end of the day, I wouldn't be standing here right now if it wasn't for football. And I wasn't the smartest cookie in the bunch, but I knew that in order for me to play football, I had to get my academics. So it starts with academics. It starts with being on time, being a stickler about doing stuff, being responsible, communication. Everybody thinks it's just X's and O's, but it's bigger than X's and O's. It's making sure that you buy into the system. If today Coach Jones and his staff are speaking Spanish, everybody on the team needs to be speaking Spanish. So it's just about just being, having the right pieces to the puzzle. And I think these guys have really, truly bought in, and they really want to win football games. So they're holding themselves accountable each and every day in the classroom and on the football field.
And that's so important, again, for the success that you want on and off the field. Obviously, we're not recreating the wheel. You've been connected with some good coaches and players over the years. Who are some of your mentors personally, or people that have had a major impact on your career up to this point?
Well, when I played, it was Larry Little, who's a Hall of Fame offensive lineman from the Miami Dolphins. We still talk each and every week. He texted me 2 days ago and said, "Good luck this season, and I love you." It's like a father figure. And then you got Coach Broadway, who's a lot of our coaches, me, Coach Oliver, Coach Gibbs, who's at North Carolina A&T. A lot of guys was under him coaching, and I definitely appreciate what he showed me as a coach. We didn't like him too much when we were coaching up under him, but a lot of the stuff that we do as coaches, it comes from Coach Broadway. Coach Washington, who was the head coach at North Carolina A&T and was a defensive coordinator for me at North Carolina Central, and Chip Gill, who's my high school football coach. It's a lot of guys that I tell these guys that when you leave here, you want to be able to pick up the phone and talk to your coach and tell them that I'm getting married or I have a baby on the way. It's bigger than just football. So those guys are guys that I can really say that, has helped me along the way, and they still help me. I get advice from each and every one of them weeks before each game.
Yeah, and having that mentorship and having that camaraderie is so important. Coach, your time as a player, it kind of helps you connect with the players too, because you've been through what they are going through right now. Right. Speak about how that experience as a player kind of helps you connect with these players right now.
Well, we always tell them we're not going to make you do nothing that we didn't do, at the end of the day. And, it's a work ethic, so a lot of the stuff that you do on the field is not enough. We tell these guys that just because you got on the field and we coached you up, take some time out on your own and work on your craft. So it's more to it than just getting out there for them 2 hours on the football field. If as a defensive back, if you did something wrong in practice and in your memory bank you remember what happened, put yourself in that situation by yourself on the field and work on your craft. So, and the guys are doing that. It's no distractions here. I think they want to be a winning football team, but it's just it takes. You got to get 1% better each and every day.
Mm-hmm, definitely. You've made it through spring practices, and now you're heading into first game of the season this Saturday. How has the team adjusted since those spring practices to now, and even yourself as a first-year head coach? How's the adjustment been?
Well, it's I think the organization adjustment is a lot better. We came in and put our stamp on it, but kids were still, young men were still trying to learn our system. I think the summer was very good for us. As I stated, that we had like 70-plus guys here on campus, including freshmen, that learned our offense, learned our defense, got bigger, faster, stronger with Coach Glanton, who's our strength and conditioning coach. Mm-hmm. And I just think we're at the right place now. Just we're getting tired of going against ourselves, and it's time for us to really see who we are. We're playing a good team against Chowan, and we got to have our ducks in a row.
Yeah, and we'll speak about Chowan and the upcoming game in a few, but team chemistry, Coach, you've talked about it already. On and off the field is so important. I see the players, they walk around campus. I've seen them eat together in the dining hall. The camaraderie is there. Have you noticed the teamwork become stronger over the past few months? And not only that, but how is the bond between the players and the coaching staff right now?
I think it's an excellent bond. We're a team-generated football squad. We want our team to have some say-so on things that's going on. Yesterday, one of the young men by the name of DJ texted me and said, "Coach, how you think practice went yesterday?" And I said, "I thought it went pretty good." And he was like, "Well, Coach, I asked some of the other guys, and they felt like it wasn't as good as it has been." Of course, on Mondays, we wear helmets, and that's it. Mm-hmm. So, guys might go through the motion. We're not hitting each other. So I explained to him I thought it was okay, but, I appreciate kids speaking their mind and seeing, that we could be better. And when you got football players that recognize that we can be a better football team, sky's the limit.
Yeah, and you have a lot of players. I know that they don't mind speaking their mind, and I think the coaching staff has done a pretty good job of that open door policy. Say what you need
Absolutely.
to say. Don't hold anything back. Speaking of the coaching staff for a moment, there's a few new faces on that sideline with you. Tell us about how you assembled this staff and talk about what they bring to the team. And trust is really important, and I think you have that on your sideline.
Yeah. Well, we did our research. The first person I'm going to talk about is our offensive coordinator, Coach Torian Hester. He was with me at Shaw University. He was my offensive coordinator, and we averaged like about 27 points a game last year, and they only averaged 13 here. Yeah. And so the biggest thing was the scoring points. So I brought Coach Hester in to revamp that offense and bring in some good electrifying guys to score points and and the big boys up front to protect my quarterback. And things of that nature. Coach Eli Sessoms, he was with me, a wide receiver coach, and you know anything about our wide receivers, we probably had the best wide receiver core in the CIAA last year. And the credit goes to Coach Eli. He's a young, energetic coach, and he's got a promising future. Coach Andre George, he was my running back coach at Shaw University, but when I first got to Shaw University, he was my defensive coordinator. He took a better job, and we just got back together the last few years. And those three guys that I just talked about, I actually coached. So then you can see the closeness that we have there. Coach Estevan, Coach Hoke, a.k.a. Coach Hoke, our defensive line coach. We lost our defensive line coach in the spring. We had to get somebody. We didn't have a defensive line coach in the spring. He got here right after spring, and he's done a good job. Coach Hoke is not a big rah-rah guy, but he's a teacher, is a student of the game, and make sure our kids understand what we want and what we can do. And then the glue we always talk about D-line, like I said, Coach Estevan up front, but the other side of the ball, it's always the trenches. Offensive lineman, Coach Manigo is our offensive line coach who was at Norfolk State. He was a tight end coach there. Coach Manigo was on my staff at one point in time as an offensive line coach, and we came back together. So those new guys that I brought in were guys that I were familiar with, and I know that they wanted to continue coaching. So I think we did a great job of recruiting coaches. But not only that, you got Coach Glanton, who's our strength coach, who's our linebacker coach as well. He does an excellent job with special teams. Coach Red, he's our running back coach. He was a wide receiver coach last year. So, you look at guys that are at one position before and then they transition to another one. I think Coach Red has done an excellent job of his transition. And then we got Coach Bazemore. He was a high school coach last year up in Chesapeake, Virginia, and we brought him in as a safeties coach. So the pieces of the puzzle came together. I think we have a great tight-knit football staff, and that people think this is all about X's and O's. It's not. It's everybody being on the same page and they've been loyal to me. I've been in that seat that they're in, and I told them, like, man, the more loyal you are as a football coach, the blessings you get. And it's the only reason why I'm sitting here, because I was loyal to each head coach I worked up under, and they gave me great references as to be a head coach.
Yeah. We talked a little bit about during the offseason, the players getting better during the spring practices and getting to where they are now. But even you personally, you want to become a better coach year in and year out. What have you done personally that you can say, I'm a better coach now than I was even in the past few years?
Well, it was, when you get let go from a job, you always look at yourself and see what you could do better. And I'm my worst critic, at the end of the day. And I just wanted to make sure that I got more organized. I am an organized person, but being organized, attention to detail, listen to my coach's advice. And, sometimes it might not be the advice I want to hear, but giving them the opening to speak up for what they believe in. And I think I've done a good job of that. And not only that, being a head coach is like a lot of times I get pulled and I'm helping out at this position and another position. Now I can sit in the middle of the field and critique and, and talk to my players and give them good, wisdom as a head coach. I think that's the biggest thing. Like when I was at Shaw University, I was a running back coach or I was a DB coach. So now we had the pieces of the puzzle where I have coaches at each position. So now I can be that true head coach.
Yeah, definitely. And we talked about this before. I talked about how much the CIAA has changed since you were a player. And, of course, you've been a coach in the conference. The game overall has changed so much. And you and I personally have talked about NIL and how it's impacted recruiting. But you have placed a focus on recruiting locally. And I had a smile on my face from ear to ear because I think it's going to be so beneficial for this program. This season, we have the services of local players like DeAndre Tolson and Shamar Sutton from right here in Elizabeth City. You actually called this area a gold mine, and I love that word. How much of a priority is it for you and the staff to increase recruiting throughout Northeastern North Carolina and Hampton Roads specifically?
It is our number one duty to make sure we recruit the northeastern part of the state. 50-mile radius where we can gas up and get to every school in this area. That is crucial because, a lot of schools in North Carolina tend to go to the most populated areas, and no one comes down here. We want it to where if they come down here, they get to pick after we pick. We want to make sure that we put our stamp at Elizabeth City State, that we get these kids here, and that's a way of building a camaraderie and also building that fan base that we need. We need some people to come out and support us.
Yeah, I love that mindset. Love the direction you're going, Coach. And the Vikings are going to head down the road about a little over an hour for their first game this Saturday. We got to talk about it, so we're going to take a quick break. But when we return, we'll talk about that matchup with Chowan, and we'll also talk about some of the other new faces that are on the sideline that you'll be seeing for Viking football. Stay with us. You're listening to ECSU Football Insider on WRVS 89.9.
Get your tickets now for ECSU football online at ECSUVikings.com.
Elizabeth City State University promises to be the most affordable choice for a high-quality university education. The NC Promise tuition plan will reduce the tuition cost of attending ECSU to only $2,500 per semester for out-of-state students. Learn more online at ecsu.edu/NCPromise. Elizabeth City State University. Come to discover, leave to conquer.
Let's get back to ECSU Football Insider online at WRVS899.com.
Yes, welcome back to ECSU Football Insider. Clay Mercer here with ECSU Football head coach Adrian Jones. And coach, having players who are willing to step up into the leadership role has its advantages, and I know you've seen these players step up. Which players, off the top of your head, you've taken notice of that are stepping up in that area and ready to take the lead in that area for this team?
Well, you got Traquan Johnson, who's a running back for us, 6'1", 230-pound running back that done a great job when he first came in. He's a little out of shape, but he's getting back into the groove. Chris Perkins, who plays quarterback and wide receiver for us. Navin Hilliard, who's a quarterback. They're both battling. DeAndre Tolson's done a great job with us, man. He is a local, I call him a hero here. Terrence Holland, who was a wide receiver. He was a all-conference punt returner. You got Ben Turner and Wyatt Jackson, who are competing for the kicking position for field goals. You got to, if you know anything about special teams, you got to be special. So those guys are battling. Kyle Laurent, our right tackle, who we bought from Shaw University, he's been a leader. There's several other guys I know I'm missing. Catrez Bracey, our 6'3" wide receiver that can run. Troy Smith, a wide receiver. E.J. Gatlin from Northeastern as well, that's doing a great job. So we got a lot of toys to play with, on the offensive side of the ball. On the defensive side of the ball, you got Jamar Blake, Justin Branch, several other guys. Higgs is a defensive end. But the biggest thing with our football team is that a lot of people think about the first team, but we had depth. We got guys that are just as good on the second team than we do on the first team, and that is championship brand of football. Not saying that it's going to happen overnight, but we're working hard and trying to be that team that everybody think they can be.
Yeah, you're building toward that. I don't want to give away any kind of nuggets of information, but when the crowds make their way to Roebuck Stadium, the Down East Viking Football Classic, even at away games, when they come to see the ECSU Vikings, what type of product can the fans expect to see out there on the field this season?
It's two words: electrifying and detailed and discipline. I would say those three words kind of hit you, like being disciplined on defense and be electric on offense. We got to score points, and I think we got the guys to score a lot of points, and we definitely got guys on defense that can shut some people out. We just got to all blend in. We're not saying that it might be a day to defense down, but offense got to got to take the torch and give us a victory. Special teams, the reason why they call it special. And we got some special guys on special teams, and we're big on special teams. A lot of schools around focus on offense and defense, but special teams is where it's crucial that we're good. It's an old saying, special teams will lose you two or win you two.
That's correct. And I wanted to bring some focus on that, too, because over the past few seasons that we've been covering ECSU Viking football. Special teams has been an area that we want to shore up. And there are times where you get that drive and you get into the red zone and let's get three. And we haven't been able to do that over the past few seasons. Do you feel as though you have the talent to be able to shore that up for 2025?
I do think that we got the talent and just got to be confident bunch and put that pressure on our kickers. We put pressure on them each and every day, so I think they're prepared for it. The biggest thing is just when the lights come on, just, letting go of everything that's, the distractions and just focus on your one thing. And when we say it's focus on do your 111.
Yeah.
If we ask you to kick field goals, that's what you do. Don't worry about nobody else's job.
Yeah. Well, we hope our Vikings are prepared for what's coming up this Saturday as they kick off the season, as they travel a little bit over an hour down the road to Murfreesboro to take on Chowan. The Hawks were 3-7 overall last season under Coach Paul Johnson. They're entering their first season in Conference Carolinas this year, where they're picked to be fifth in the preseason rankings. They have a few key players returning, including their quarterback, Maurice Smith. What else have you learned, Coach, about the Hawks?
Well, one thing I can say is that, they're a better 3-7 team than the record shows. And, we did our research. Coach did a great job of recruiting in the spring. I think he had about 45 transfers to come in, which is big for a Division II football team. So, just looking at that roster from last year, it's an overhaul. So we got to be ready for them, expect any and everything. But I think we match up well. 3-7 against 3-7.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, but it's a must that we jump out and start off 1-0 to get this momentum rolling.
Yeah, definitely. I'm sure the team is looking forward to a win. That's what we want. But aside from a win, what else are you interested in seeing from your Viking football team Saturday?
Just effort. We have a saying, something good happen, keep playing. Something bad happen, keep playing. It's just football. It's going to happen. Just how you bounce back when things happen to you. And don't get the big head. If we scoring points and we beating them, I have a saying, you got to kill a gnat with a sledgehammer. Don't let up. And, those some of the things that I've seen in the past as a head coach that, we don't finish people. And that's the biggest thing, just making sure we finish, no matter what, win or lose, finish the game with some effort.
Yeah, Coach, we're coming near to the end of the show, but I always like to give you the microphone to talk to the Viking family, get them ready for Saturday, and just get them ready for what should be an exciting season on the football field.
Well, we look forward to putting out a product that everybody loves. My biggest thing is whether it's at home or far away, come support us, or whether it's on the radio station or in person. I think you'll really be pleased at what we put together here at Elizabeth City State University.
Yes, Coach, I think everyone is excited about the brand new season. Now, family, remember, ECSU Viking football Saturday kicks off at 6 as ECSU takes on Chowan. Now, we'll bring you radio coverage beginning at 5:30 with the pregame, and you can listen online at WRVS899.com. Again, we thank you all for joining us for ECSU Football Insider. Coach Jones, as always, thank you for making this happen. Good luck to you and the Vikings this Saturday, and I look forward to joining you for next week's show.
Yes, sir. Viking pride.
Yes, for Coach Jones, I'm Clay Mercer. We'll see you next time for ECSU Football Insider, exclusively on WRVS 89.9.
ECSU Football Insider is produced at WRVS Studios on the campus of Elizabeth City State University, powered by the ECSU Department of Radio and Television Services. Learn more online at WRVS899.com.